Welcome back to week 3 of our Christmas in July series, counting down my all-time favorite Hallmark Christmas movies. I've got 3 more to share today and I can't wait to tell you all about them, so let's dive right in and get to it. Hi, I'm Stephanie and welcome to the Magical Movie Club. This is a place where, like you, I love to watch and chat about Hallmark Christmas movies. You know, making this list was not an easy task for me. I moved so many around and second-guessed myself on some of them because I wasn't so sure I'd be able to explain exactly why they made it to my list. The very first one I'm about to talk about is one of those movies I hesitated on. I knew it made me smile every time it came on, but I couldn't put my finger on the reason why. But then I watched it again and it all became clear, and here's why. Christmas in Evergreen, Letters to Santa, starring Jill Wagner and Mark Declan. I wasn't sure whether to put this one on my list or not because it doesn't follow my usual logic for why I enjoy watching this one every year. The romance itself wasn't spectacular, so why do I like it? I think it's the town itself and all the Christmas magic behind it, like the pages turning in the storybook.
Deep in the valleys of Vermont, there's a town called Evergreen.
The snow globe that everyone holds to make their Christmas wishes, which was really introduced in the first movie with Ashley Williams. Then there's the mystery letter to Santa, Nick, or could it be Santa himself? And the mystery of that old key that they found. And on top of it all, I couldn't get enough of that little shop and how it was transformed beautifully from a dilapidated, abandoned space to a charming Christmas boutique. Just a little bit of trivia. Did anyone notice that Barbara Niven and Andrew Francis were both in this movie? They were also in Chesapeake Shores together, where she played his mother for 6 seasons. Well, this movie opens with Jill Wagner and Andrew Francis, who play good friends Lisa and Oliver. They're decorating a beautiful little boutique-style shop.
When we open our own store, everything is going to have to be just slightly off-kilter.
Yet impeccably designed.
And locally sourced.
After they finish the job on the store, Oliver reminds Lisa that this year one of her New Year's resolutions had been to go back and visit her hometown from her childhood.
Hey, every year we make these resolution lists, and every year you have the same goal.
I know, visit my hometown for Christmas.
And that town happens to be Evergreen. I can't say enough about how magical and beautiful this town is. Now, when Lisa and Kevin first meet, Kevin is played by Mark Declan, and it's not exactly original, but very much appropriate this time. If you've seen the first Evergreen movie, you should already be familiar with this red truck. I know it belongs to Ashley Williams' character Allie in that movie. Well, she's out of town now, and Kevin is borrowing it from her for a few days while he's in Evergreen.
Are you having trouble with your truck?
It's not my truck.
And you may also remember it was always breaking down, so it's no surprise that it broke down here. Isn't this just beautiful though? While she's trying to help him out, she notices 2 things sitting inside the truck. One is an employment application with Banford Logging, and the other is a crate full of vegetables. When Lisa arrives in Evergreen, we see some familiar sights from before, like the Kris Kringle kitchen, which still has the magic snow globe, but Lisa focuses more on what's not here. Or at least it's not open any longer, and that's Daisy's country store across the street. She stops for a moment to reflect on her childhood memories of Daisy and how she helped a young Lisa finish her letter to Santa that last year that she was in Evergreen.
Did you put your truest Christmas wish in your letter?
And then, while Lisa's reacquainting herself with Carol and Joe, the owners of the Kris Kringle kitchen, Kevin drives up in the red truck delivering the vegetables to them.
Ah, Kevin.
Hey!
Makes sense now. Allie is, after all, their daughter and the owner of the red truck. And if you haven't noticed, this town epitomizes everything about Christmas. Seriously, I would love to visit a place just like this someday. Soon, Lisa arrives at the B&B where she'll be staying, And guess who comes in the door delivering a Christmas tree?
Oh, good. You brought the tree.
Oh, wow.
She and Kevin even laugh at all the places they keep running into each other. Well, you're probably wondering when we're going to get to the story. No worries, we're almost there. It turns out the mayor now owns Daisy's store, and he's been trying to sell it. But he doesn't want to sell it to a chain store company. He's really hoping to be able to keep their small town charm with another small business here like they've always had. And since Lisa designs and decorates storefronts, she suggests it could use some staging to help attract more buyers.
Well, it could use a good staging.
Staging?
And here's the catch. The mayor says if it doesn't sell by the end of the year, it goes back to the bank. And then who knows what they'll do with it.
Could you do that to a store?
Yeah.
So Lisa agrees to get the place staged and ready to sell by Christmas. Of course, she'll need to work with a contractor to make some repairs. Oh, and that's when the mayor informs her that the town's best contractor is...
Kevin is a contractor.
Of course he is.
To get started, they head first to the hardware store. It's here where they dig through some boxes of just old stuff. And they come across this old key that no one knows what it goes to.
What about this one?
They buy the key for a nickel, and that becomes a really cute side story for some of the supporting characters to find out what it unlocks, with a little help from Santa.
I mean, just imagine all of the locks that this key could open.
One more side story that I mentioned earlier. It has to do with a letter that fell out of Daisy's old mailbox,
We'll find room, of course.
which was made just for dropping off letters to Santa. Only this one,
That's 25 years old.
and clearly since it's been stuck under the mailbox all these years, it was never delivered, which means someone never got his or her Christmas wish.
Dear Santa, this year I just want Christmas like it used to be, with the candles and the carols and the bells.
But the letter, which was typed on an old typewriter, was also only signed with the initials KM. The mystery here is discovering who wrote the letter, and can the town help make that one Christmas wish still come true? I'll admit the love story between Lisa and Kevin was okay. It wasn't the best. There were a lot of misunderstandings and some jealousy when her best friend Oliver showed back up by surprise to help decorate. But for me, it didn't need to be the best. It was everything else about this movie that was magical for me. And yes, it includes some classic Hallmark scenes like ice skating, decorating cookies,
Whoa, that's a lot of cookies.
a cute little town church with bells that don't work,
Yeah, I'll take a look, Kev. I worked on these bells for years, and I don't think we have all the parts.
and even some impressive choir practice. And just like you'd expect from Hallmark, dare I say it, everything wrapped up nicely by the end. I just love having it on so I can immerse myself in this beautiful, magical Christmas town called Evergreen.
And so the town once again celebrated Christmas like they used to.
And you know what? I can't explain it, but I still get a little choked up every time I hear those church bells ring finally at the end. That's why I knew I had to put this one on my list.
Are those church bells?
Number 17, The Christmas Club, starring Elizabeth Mitchell and Cameron Matheson. This is another movie that's all about Christmas magic, but maybe not like you would expect. And in the last video, I mentioned Cameron Matheson was one of my favorites who made it into 2 movies on my top 24 list. Well, this is the other one. And Elizabeth Mitchell, who becomes Mrs. Claus to Tim Allen's Santa and the Santa Claus movies, is in this one too. Interesting. Well, in The Christmas Club, she plays Olivia, a dance teacher and single mother of this adorable little girl, Marin.
Are you sure you're not just saying that because you're my mom?
No, I'm saying it because I'm your teacher. I love you because I'm your mom.
Apparently, Elizabeth's husband passed away 8 years ago when Marin was just a baby. Olivia's friend, Carrie, helps her at the dance studio, And it's good they have each other because the owner of the studio is going out soon for surgery.
It's almost Christmas. Make it an official Christmas wish.
I think you're confusing Christmas with birthdays.
No, it's a thing.
Carrie and Olivia are also good friends. And on the topic of Christmas, Carrie decides to use her Christmas wish on Olivia.
I'm gonna use my Christmas wish on you.
She wishes Olivia would find love again, and she describes who she thinks would be the perfect man for her.
Dark hair, blue eyes, great sense of humor, and...
Of course, Olivia says she's very happy with her life and isn't interested in finding love again right now. That's what they all say, isn't it? Well, that's when we meet Edward.
Especially because you came home for Christmas.
I came home because I have work here. It just happens to be Christmas.
And his sister just happens to live there, so he's staying with her and her family. But he's not really into Christmas very much.
Just make sure that you're here when we decorate the tree tomorrow.
Oh, Beth, I can't promise that. I might have meetings tomorrow.
He's a business consultant who helps small businesses succeed by giving them the tools that they need to be able to succeed. The next morning, Olivia realizes it's the first day of Hanukkah and she forgot to buy Carrie a gift. So she steps out for a bit to go shopping.
Happy holidays.
Also out walking at the same time is Edward on his way to work. The timing is critical because they happen to meet just as a little old lady named Gertrude is nearby counting her money in front of a store. And that's when it happens. She's pretty shaken up by it, so Edward and Olivia help her inside to sit down.
So, it was $80 total?
Yes. I saved all year with the bank's Christmas club.
Edward and Olivia agreed the story sounded pretty far-fetched, and they had no way of knowing whether she was telling the truth or trying to scam them. But in the spirit of Christmas, they went outside pretending to search for the money.
Who are we kidding? Those 20s gotta be long gone by now.
I know.
And decided to each pitch in $40 to give her back the entire $80.
I've got two 20s.
Really thoughtful. Okay, that's funny. I have two too.
And when they went to tell her how they had found the money outside in a Christmas tree,
We found all of your money. All $80. There it is.
even Gertrude found that hard to believe.
Right there in the tree.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
So she just accepted it as Christmas being a magical time of year.
Luck has nothing to do with it. It's Christmas. It's a magical time of year.
Well, that single act of kindness was the beginning of a chain of events that would make quite an impact on both their lives.
Now that's magic.
The two of them end up continuing on their walk, but this time they're going in the same direction. Not sure how that happened, but we'll just go with it. We find out more about the fact that Edward's just not a Christmas kind of guy because...
Oh, my parents were divorced and the holidays were just always strained.
Olivia, on the other hand,
I totally believe in Christmas magic.
they continue walking and come across what they call a Christmas festival.
I didn't realize they started the Christmas festival again. It's the best.
I'd say it's more like a street fair with small businesses set up everywhere, selling handmade Christmas crafts, hot roasted pecans, hot chocolate, everything about Christmas. She takes it all in and loves it.
What? The snow?
So beautiful.
Including what I'm assuming is the first snowfall. He, on the other hand, just kind of takes it all for granted.
You're not from around here, are you?
And after they spend a little time getting to know each other, they part ways to go about their day, assuming that's the last they'll ever see each other.
It was lovely to meet you, Evergreen.
The pleasure was all mine. Yeah.
So how will these two very different individuals end up together? Well, that's what this movie's all about. But wait, there is more. The day seemed like it was starting off well, but when Olivia got back to the dance studio, Maggie, the owner, tells her she has decided to retire and sell the studio.
I'm sorry, what? It's time.
Not exactly the sort of news Olivia wanted to hear just 2 weeks before Christmas. The whole movie is filled with lots of little coincidences. Like the next day, for example, Olivia took her daughter out to go back to that Christmas festival, and it just so happens that Edward's sister took her son out there at the same time, and since Edward's nephew talked him into going with them, he and Olivia meet again.
You know, I've never randomly run into the same person so many times.
It's pretty incredible.
This happens a lot, and despite pressure from Edward's sister and Olivia's friend Carrie, they resist giving each other their phone numbers for a really long time.
I mean, I'm leaving for New York soon, and I don't get the feeling that Olivia's really up for dating anytime soon, so there's just no point.
Mainly because Edward lives in another city, New York, and they both know he's not staying in Minneapolis very long. Although at one point, about halfway through the movie, Edward finally does give her his phone number, the old-fashioned way on a napkin.
There we go. Hope you can read this.
But as soon as Olivia and her daughter get home, Marin accidentally spills hot chocolate all over the kitchen counter.
Spaghetti.
Oh, yep.
I got it.
And uses that napkin to soak it up. Although there were some rocky moments for all, like when Edward's client wanted to buy the dance studio that just went on the market.
The guy next door said it's on the market as of this morning. It's perfect.
And Olivia thought she just couldn't take any more bad news because she was hoping for more time.
Can we at least have the Christmas Eve recital here?
I've said it before. Sometimes, even though things may happen that seem really bad at the time, these things need to happen in our lives in order for something really great to be waiting for us on the other side. I've lived it too, so I know it's real. And that's one of the things I love about this movie. The ending finally worked out well for everyone, including Olivia and her career, despite the fact that she almost blew it all because she was afraid to open up her heart for the longest time. But like I said, she came around and even helped Edward learn to love Christmas again.
She knew.
She knew what?
My Christmas wish was to be with you.
That was mine too.
And did I mention Gertrude kept popping up behind the scenes all throughout the movie, like she's been keeping an eye on him? We find out why at the very end, too.
I'm not even gonna say what I'm thinking because it's insane.
Yeah, it's completely insane.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Gertrude, want to know what happened to those 4 original $20 bills that flew away? Well, check this out. One guy found one of them and gave it as a large tip to a taxi driver.
That's found money. That 20 practically flew into my hands just on 7th Avenue.
Another one was found by a toy store clerk, and she paid it forward by giving it to someone who couldn't afford to buy a toy she wanted to get.
Would another 20 help?
Oh, that's not necessary.
I insist.
Another one was given to a Christmas hot dog vendor at the festival as a pay it forward for the next customer behind him.
It's funny. Somebody did the same thing a few days ago with a 20 they found over on 7th Avenue.
And the last one, well, Gertrude found a way to give it back to Olivia and Edward, and it blew away again to give someone else a little Christmas magic.
Oh, this is a beautiful ornament.
Like, how did Gertrude get it back in the first place? Number 16, Christmas in Rome, starring Lacey Chabert and Sam Page. Christmas in Rome, for me, is a sweet, feel-good movie that I love watching whenever it's on. One of the reasons, I think, is I love seeing how other people around the world enjoy celebrating Christmas. And I hope that the Italian traditions and cultures that they show us in this movie have some semblance of truth to them because they're just wonderful. This movie starts out by showing us Angela, an American tour guide in Rome.
Christmas was first celebrated on December 25th in Rome in the year 336 under the...
Her specialty is going off the beaten path a little to show us some of the non-traditional touristy spots. Like in this scene, for example. She veers off the itinerary to take her group into her favorite local bakery.
Now, this isn't a part of our official tour, but how about some treats?
The problem is, she works for a larger tour company, and going off on her own like this doesn't sit well with them.
Angela, this is the 3rd time I've had to talk to you this month.
Apparently she does this often, and this time it turned out that one of the guests on that tour had an allergic reaction to something she ate here and blamed the tour company.
But she turned out okay. She loved the tour, and we were able to share the living history of Rome.
So guess what happens to Angela a week before Christmas? Yeah, she gets fired.
So I made a decision, and I have to let you go.
Next we meet Oliver. He's sitting in a boring conference room trying to lighten the mood a little bit by talking about Christmas.
I love this time of year. Season of joy, season of giving.
But he's surrounded by a bunch of stuffed shirts who are clearly not amused by him at all.
It may be the season of giving, Oliver, but we're not handing out any early Christmas presents.
They're ready to start reviewing a proposed contract deal, paragraph by paragraph.
Okay, if you look at paragraph 7.
You know what?
But Oliver cuts right to the chase and writes down an offer and passes it to them. Apparently they accepted the offer because next his boss is congratulating him. He says he loves making deals at Christmas time because no one ever wants to work during the holidays.
Nobody else likes to work during the holidays. That's why it's my favorite time of year.
Well, his boss segues right into the next deal she wants him to work on.
Have you heard of Forlinghetti Ceramics?
They're high-end and they make everything from plates to cups to Christmas ornaments. His boss continues to tell him about some friends of hers named Margaret and Jack Fletcher.
Well, they're visiting Luigi Forlinghetti in Rome for the holidays.
And they've heard he wants to retire and sell the company. So I'm sure you've probably guessed it by now. Oliver is on a flight to Rome as soon as that same night. Admittedly, the meet cute was not my favorite. If you've seen any of my other videos, this probably won't come as any surprise. Oliver's trying to ask for directions, but no one speaks English. When he turns around, he bumps into Angela, who immediately chastises him for not watching where he's going.
Oh, ow, whoa.
Sorry.
Oh, watch where you're going.
Are you American?
True, he turned around suddenly and he was distracted by his phone. But clearly, she's as much to blame for walking right into his path when she had all this room on the other side of this bridge. So yeah, it was a little forced, but at least they didn't dwell on it too long.
You know what? In the spirit of Christmas, I will give you the benefit of the doubt.
And actually, the scene was necessary because he needed to ask her for directions to his business meeting. And being a now unemployed tour guide, she had the time to walk with him there.
And then immediately make a right, but if you know what? It's gonna take me longer to explain how to find it. I'll just show you myself.
Along the way, they chat and she comments that it's only 5 days until Christmas, which in Italy is not the best time to conduct business.
So it's only 5 days until Christmas.
Christmas is the best time to get things done.
Oh, no. Not in Italy.
This is a hint at just what kind of a culture shock Oliver is in for over these next few days. What Angela shows us over the course of the movie is Italians really know how to celebrate Christmas. There's just so much history and culture. I loved every bit of it.
They say if you throw coins with your right hand over your left shoulder into the fountain, a return to Rome is guaranteed.
There's actually much more to this movie than just learning about how they celebrate Christmas. She quickly points out that there are significant cultural differences regarding how they conduct business.
I'm serious that business protocol is not like the States. There are cultural differences.
The cultural?
When they meet Luigi at the restaurant, he invites them both to lunch, and Angela finds herself acting as sort of a mediator of Oliver so that he doesn't push things too fast.
First time. I envy you, because you can see everything with fresh eyes.
During lunch, Luigi tells them that whoever buys his company must understand that their ceramics are more than just clay.
It is about capturing the spirit of Rome in the clay.
And that's when we come to the theme of this movie.
Hang on. Wait.
Oliver offers to hire Angela to be his tour guide for the week.
What?
And after considering it for a moment, she realizes this would be mutually beneficial because she'd like to start her own tour company, and this is her chance to really show someone how Christmas in Rome is special and meaningful.
You said you were going to start your own business, right? I'll pay you double your fee. Think of it as a test run.
In other words, give him a tour her way.
All right, are you ready to see Rome like a Roman?
As ready as I'll ever be.
The rest of the movie is all about him getting to know Luigi and his family, the importance of slowing down and gift giving.
Ingredients for what?
For panettone.
Well, I can't even boil an egg, let alone bake Christmas bread.
And Oliver's also able to help Angela with his connections to small business investors.
Jack and Margaret Fletcher are serious private investors. If they like the sound of your tour, that might be the only investment you need.
The problem that they need to find a way to overcome is once this business deal is wrapped up one way or another, Oliver will be going back home to the States.
I really do need to go back to New York.
This is another beautiful Christmas story where I feel like we, the viewer, got to experience Christmas in Rome for the first time together. I just loved it. And this one also had a beautiful love story. By the end of the movie, I believe both Oliver and Angela, too, saw the world just a little bit differently than they did before they bumped into each other that fateful day at the beginning of the movie. Oh, and I have to tell you about something that made me laugh. Toward the end, when they finally went out on a date, Oliver asked her to dance, and at first she didn't want to because, get this.
No, not in front of all these people.
It's easy, just follow my lead.
No, I really don't know how to dance. I'm not a dancer.
I've got to think Hallmark had a lot of fun giving that line to Lacey Chabert. And something else I'd like to share that helped me appreciate this movie even more is I've never been out of the US. And this year, my husband and I are changing that in a big way with our first ever overseas trip. And it's at Christmas time. With my whole family, actually. This December, I'll be visiting Prague, Vienna, and Budapest to explore their Christmas markets and local culture, and I cannot wait. We've been planning this for over a year now, so even though I won't be going to Rome, I'll probably watch this and Christmas in Vienna again. Oh, and maybe even a Heidelberg holiday too, just before we go so I can get into that European spirit. Well, that wraps up another week of our Christmas in July series. As always, thank you so much for being a part of the Magical Movie Club. If you like this too and want to see more, please let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also consider following us on Instagram at Magical Movie Club and on Twitter at Magical Movie Club with no U in club. You can find those links below in the description, as well as links to the previews for each of the movies covered in today's video. I appreciate your being here, and I look forward to next week's video where we'll continue counting down our favorite Hallmark Christmas movies.
Done?